the beginning and the end of the strategy. Branson is a single player. Town's highs are tough. The team's 2 badges. Look down again. OD is the first part of the league in my mind. Bridges is also a representative of the top 3 countries. The first time I saw a new car, I was in a car accident and I was in a car accident. It looks like Josh Hart is the most unsightly, the one who used the least. However, if you compare the New York line to the Battle of Heavenly Steel, the first is that the fire is not going to be extinguished. Hart, who scored the lowest, is the lowest. The first is the greatest day of the year. The United States is a world leader in sports. He was a part of the 48-minute game. I'm very grateful for all the returns. So Hart is the best of the New York Knicks. How important is this? He was in New York during his most difficult time. How many more amazing expressions are there? Let's talk about it today. The first team in the league to beat Hart. We'll just talk about Hart's career first. Born in March 1995, Hart is a young American. Hook was selected as the 30th guard of the 2017 rally. He spent the first 2 years of his life in Los Angeles. The battlefield is about 8% full of deadly forces. The summer of 2019, he was one of the co-founders of the deal. The lake was converted into a lake. What is known about that? The wind in the Ox-Orion may be a problem. He played only 47 games in the 2021 season. The season was cancelled due to the mother's appointment as head coach. He was traded to the Reds in mid-season 21.2. He was traded to Nick in mid-23 season. The army has not yet been divided enough. The number of people who have been affected by the virus is only a few times higher than the average. The first is that the government is not going to be able to do anything. The new day is celebrated in the Ho Chi Minh City. Hart's selection ranking and original talent. The video was shot in the middle of the night. British people and Lonzo. The first is that the children are not being educated. But his hard work is more valuable than his wealth. The biggest hit of the season was a car-saving ball. The first time I saw him was in the Houthis. The first time I saw a video of a woman in a car was a little late, so he didn't get anywhere. The game is not a game of chance. The team is not a big deal, but it is important for the team. After arriving in New York, Hart officially flew. The season is 23.2. He played 81 games away from the game. 42 of them were first class. The last season was 77 games. The first is Long Island. The longest time was an amazing 37.65 minutes. This season, Hart has been through personal injuries and team adjustments. The game was played in a single match. 52 of them were first class. The first is the new technology. The first is, he is a good teacher and a good teacher. The first is the greatest of the world. 1/3 of the fires in New York are the weakest. But he won the match. The first is the sweetness of the world. He also dared to steal. The ability and confidence to punish opponents is unlimited. The second is, he is not the only one who is not a true believer. The first is that the students are not able to do anything. The world is full of people. The first is the cover. High-level hardness. He's a lot of people. The third is, Hart has a very strong ability to make blue boards. He has a career high ranking of 7.0. The seasonally adjusted race is up to 9.2 blocks. This year's competition, he has already doubled the number of blue boards in a single match. The final 3 matches, he has a total of 30 blue boards. The number of people who have been killed in the past few years has been higher than the 29 we have suppressed. He is also the first person to have a high body weight. The first is the bandama and the bandama. This achievement is even more exaggerated. Of course, this is a good idea. This is just a brief introduction. The video is about the role of the actor in the film. The following is a list of the most common types of cancer. The second, I'm not sure what I think about Hart. The most expensive. The most difficult to replicate. That's the body. The union of supervisors. If only 70 minutes at the gate. The first is that the country is not a country. But if we get back to the fashion base, I'm happy with it. The first is that the body is not perfect. This is a terrible thing. I don't know if you'll get any more impressions. The 23-24 season qualifiers. The most unarmed soldiers in New York City. The job of DB6. The team was a 5-piece band. OD is injured again. The changeover has been reduced. The first time I saw a woman in the street, I was in a very bad mood. The game was played for 48 minutes. Game 5 and extended play. The video was shot in the middle of the night. Game 1 and Game 2 are coming next. The game was played for 2-48 minutes. The game is a great game. The concern about competition has died early. Hart is in his first season. The regular season competition. The wartime is now under 40 minutes. Since then, the first time I saw a player who was a big fan of the game, I was in a very bad mood. What is the meaning of this? If I want to build this one, BD will give him a position. This is the first time Hart has worked on a career. The first is the sweetness of the world. We'll talk about it again. This is the Nick of 2026. The role of fear in acting. The final of the tournament is now over. His excellent performance. I've already said that before. Hart as a crown puzzle. The player's shortcuts are not so clear. If you don't want to pick one, this is the nature of space. This year's competition. The death rate of the 3-year-old is only 30.8%. The fire in New York City is also a fire. The only tail space. But this is what I'm saying. He felt more like a player like Band than he did. The game is a game of two. He scored 5G3. The game 3 against Maz in the final. He scored 4G3 points. The government has been able to prevent the spread of the virus. The first is the Yama's Wronghouse strategy. What is more important is that the first time I saw a video of a woman who was pregnant with her son, I was surprised to learn that she was pregnant with her first child. The problem is not too big. This is a great opportunity for you to learn about the world. It's too much. So he can always do it in different ways. The problem of space capture. I saw it in Khalil. Hart is probably not much of a union vet. It's not right. The first is that the space is not a back end. What is the first thing to say? This is the cricket that I mentioned earlier. The first is the shoes of the year. Nakedfoot is only about 133 cm behind Hart's ability to take the board. The top 5 players in history are probably below the same height as the players. The data is so rich in gold that it is not available to the public. The next year, 2023, only 4 players will be allowed to play in the upcoming games. The price of the newly built tablet is over 500 tons. The city is also known for its rich cultural heritage. It's Hart. The final game of the game is Hart 1. The first time he had a new board, he was a member of the board of directors. The country is a very small country. The 0.0 is a perfect example. The game is a great game for players. The first is the stop the troubles. The first is that the government is not going to be able to keep the jobs open. But Hart won't. The ball he got was down to the ball. After Bromson hit the railway. Look at the landing. The attackers were shot down by aerial fireballs. The first is that the landing of the landing gear is not a matter of time. The first is the bird of the moon and the second is the bird of the moon. In general, it would be Hart's first time in the game. Hart's strength and strength against the odds. The first is that the game is a showdown of the game. The game is a free-for-all. Hart is always able to recover from his misfortunes. The first is that of the attack on the back of the head of the 2 boards above. The video was also released on YouTube and is one of Hart's most admired videos. After getting these defensive panels, the police were able to get a copy of the video. Hart immediately found Bromson. The last one, Shamond, was attacked in front of the audience. The first time the team was in the top 3, it was the second time the team had won the tournament. I'm sorry, but not enough. What happened to the baby? The first is the Shamond in the morning. The first is the Hart logo. The first was the Street of the World, which was a huge step under the drop of the board. The first time I saw the video was in the video. The first time I saw the ball, I was in the middle of it. New York City is in for a precious second offensive opportunity. This is the Korean Golden Gate, the German version's back. He may not have had the same kind of German backs, projection and German skills. The team has been able to get a good run of the game, but it's not a good run for any team. The power of the board is strong. The team is also looking forward to the next few days, and the next few days, the team will be able to win more tests. The video was shot in the towns of the same name. I'll be back and tell you. Towns is a great place to start. The first is that the power of the electricity generated by 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 the electricity generated from the electricity generated from the electricity generated. This is because Hart is in front of me. The 2 great gods of Metro Robinson. The final decision is undeniable. Towns have Bronson on the front lines. I'm not sure what I'm saying. But in Hart, the same god of war. The second part was Hart's defensive performance in the final. The NBA's best outside linebacker is being attacked. Hart is rarely discussed. Of course, this is a good idea. The only defense capability He is more than just a teammate, but in fact, Hart is definitely a underrated defender. He is a former football player and a former football player. Unlimited close to the level of the defense front. This is a very interesting story. His experience or ability and opposition to the advantage. The following measures against the two attacks are. The first is that the country is not a democracy. Castle should be aware of this. If you don't call the party bad, he was not able to get rid of Hart's defense. The party is not a party. It's not always easy. Hart's India is also on top of the list. Castle is already a tough player in the final. But Hart is clearly more tough than that. The two people were compared. Castle is a little out of the box. This is a ball. Towns was knocked out after being knocked out. Castle gets the ball fast. The New York City defense is not fully positioned. The first time I saw a man who was not a good man. The first time he was in the race, he was in the race. He chose the hardest Hart. The first is to use force to create an offensive opportunity. But Hart is not a thunderstorm. A little boy who flew on top of a mountain. He has held back the impact of Castle's full speed mode. The first time I saw a photo of a woman in a car, I was surprised. Hart is a quick reaction and defensive player. The first is the sweetie. He fought hard and quickly. The ball is now in the final. He also said that the game was a showdown and that he was not going to be able to get the ball. The final draw was made face to face. The body of Hart. If the league allows the full use of defense. The first time he was in the game, he was in the middle of a game. The same day, LBJ spoke about Hart in a program. He thinks Hart is a bit like the role of a brave lawyer, Vaught. The impact of this type of player on the pitch is not just about scoring. This is about the issue. I think it's very close. The third part is Hart's attack. The first is the use of the blue board as a defensive tool. The problem is that many people are ignoring it. Hart is actually a guy with a certain amount of ball ability. The first time I saw the video was in the video. He can get the blue board back and push himself through half the game. Watching teammates play at the track. The government has also been trying to get a response from the government. We'll see if we can make it to the final. You can play a lot of these. Hart's own strategy for getting the blue board to work. This is a very bad way to remember you. When the wind blows the blue board. After the return of the defenders, the backs of the blue board take control of the rhythm. The first is to get a chance to win. It's a great ban. The first time I saw the video was in the video game. The first is that the country is not yet a democracy. The first is the stop the war. The reason is simple. He was actually a bit restrained in his offensive. If we hadn't been in the wrong position, we would have been in the wrong position. Personal history and advice. The first is the stop the fire. Hart's offensive line is not exactly defensive. The team is not in the league. There are too many people who can monitor his defense resources. Whoever is against New York. The first is the New Bronson Towns, which is a major city in the country. The next step is to go to OG Bridges. The first is that the team is not the same as the team. The average person is a defensive weakness. The first time I saw the video, I was in the middle of a conversation with a friend of mine. The final was held in the same city. Hart is on the verge of an attack. The only thing left is the lead and the occasional 3 points. The two main highlights. The first is that the Hart is not a Hart. The whole place is going to be a mess once it gets in. This is often linked to Game 3. The first 3 points of Hart's. The first is the horse ride defense. The next one is the horse changes will not protect Hart. If he can still get 3 points like in Game 3, he can still get 3 points. New York City is hard to let the victory flow. The last thing to mention is, the first is that the government is not going to be able to keep up with the demands of the people. Hart's desperate walkway. The first is that the people of the country are not happy with their lives. We rarely see it. Knicks defeat in the final. The first time they were in the country, they were in the country. The first time I saw the video was in the background. The first time I saw the video was in the video. The first is that the fire is going to burn again. Even the 196 centimeter Hart is made like this. What are the reasons for giving up? This is Hart. They have no personal honor. The remaining military data is only about 10.77.3. I'm not sure what I'm doing. The NBA has won only one championship this year. He is a man of many talents. One of the rarest players in the league. If you're familiar with it. The third part of the previous question is doubt and confusion. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it. Our troops are the lugging squad. Hart is another player like this. The NBA is a lucky draw.